Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So today in this video we are going to discuss about one of the brand new web interface which is REST client. And this REST client web interface is coming in the Spring Boot 3.2 upcoming release. Okay. So this is what we are going to discuss in this video today. So REST client is nothing but it is a kind of web interface that help us to integrate the third party APIs in the Spring Boot. There is already existing web interface called REST template and the web client is also there. So what is the advantage of the REST client over those already existing web interfaces? That is also we are going to discuss in this video, and how REST client is working and how we can achieve our Spring Boot and how we can achieve our third party API integration using REST client in Spring Boot. Everything we are going to discuss in this video today. So first of all, we are going to develop a Spring Boot application, and using the REST client we are going to consume the third party APIs and perform the basic CRUD operations. So that is what we are going to do in this video. So let's get started for that. So now let me try to jump over the IntelliJ and try to create one Spring Boot application, and there will try to uh, consume the third party APIs using the REST client, and side by side I will also try to bring the difference between the REST client and the REST template as well. So let me try to go to the IntelliJ, and here let me try to create the Spring Boot application first. So go to the file, new project, and in the project you will find this Spring Initializer option. You have to select this. Here I am using the IntelliJ Ultimate version. That is why I could see this Spring Initializer option here. If you are using IntelliJ Community version or other editor, then you have to go to the start.spring.io site to create your Spring Boot application, and the same page will be open there. What you have to do, you have to provide the project name. So let's say the project name is REST client brand new web interface, something like that. So you have to provide the project name and select the maven, and there you can, what you can do, you have to go to the next and you have to select couple of starter dependency. Make sure that the Spring version that you are going to use is Spring Boot 3.2.0 release. Okay, because this web client feature is in the Spring Boot 3.2.0 release. So make sure you're selecting this Spring Boot version, and after that you have to select these two starter dependencies like Spring Web and the Lombok. We are not going to use any database, so that is why we are not going to include the database related dependency. Now create your application. In your case it will try to show you to download your zip file. So that zip file will contain your application. Try to download that zip file, extract it out and open it in the editor that you are going to use. So here I'm just going to create it, and it will take few seconds to create your application. Open in new tab and just wait for few seconds once it resolve all your dependency that you have added. Okay. So just wait for few seconds. It will try to download the starter dependency that I have added and to configure our application. So it will take few seconds. Once it is done, you can start doing the development. So I think it is done. Before going to do the development, let me try to show you how the REST template was working. So if you don't know how to use the REST template to call the third party APIs, there are videos on my channel. So if you'll go here, you can see this video, which is third party API integration. And I have implemented this get, post, put and delete APIs using the REST template. So this is the video where you can go and refer how the REST template is working. There are a couple of more ways to consume or to integrate the third party APIs in the Spring Boot, like retrofit or the web client. So here I also covered about the retrofit, how to consume the third party APIs or third party API integration using retrofit. So you can also watch this out. Here in this video, we are going to use the REST client, which is a new feature of the Spring Boot 3.2 release to integrate the third party APIs. So let me try to go there, and let me try to go to the project, open the source main and come here. Okay, so let me try to give you a basic overview what we are going to do here. So if you'll go to the browser, and let me try to show you which third-party API I'm going to use in this video. So you have heard the name of JSON placeholder. So go to this site. This site provides you the free third-party APIs. So if you'll go there, if you'll go down, you will find this free APIs. So here, if you'll go to this post API, you will find the list of posts, and this API I'm going to integrate. So this is what we are going to integrate in our application. So this is a list of post API. Similarly, there are get post by ID API is also there from the JSON placeholder. Similarly, there is update post and delete post, and like, yeah, all the four CRUD operations related APIs are there for the post, and that we are going to integrate in our Spring Boot application and create our own APIs. Okay, so that is what we are going to do here. So you can see the get one is get the all post, get the post by ID. If you'll see here, if you want to insert couple of posts, so you can use this post slash post, and the verbose is post. Again, if you want to update your post, you have to provide the post ID, and you can use the put method here. Similarly, the patch and delete is also there. So this is what we are going to integrate in our videos. And let me try to go to the IntelliJ now. And here we are going to create the entity called post, and then we'll try to create one service layer. We'll try to create one controller layer, and then we'll try to perform our operations. Before going to do the development with the REST client, let me try to show you one application where I have used the REST template to show you how the flow is and how we are using the REST template to call the third party API. So let me try to bring you to the channel again, and here you can see this is the video where I have discussed about the REST template. So let me try to open it out, and in the video description I have provided the GitHub link of the application. So let me try to go down and try to show you those things. So open it up, open this Git repository link, and let me try to clone this. And once it is cloned, I will open it in the IntelliJ and show you the whole thing. So copy this out. Let me try to go there to the project location, September, and here let me try to clone it out. So open a terminal here, and just do a git clone in your own location. You can clone it out and open it in the IntelliJ. So it is cloned. Now let me try to go there and open it. So come here. I just want to show you the whole flow, what we are going to do in this video using the REST client. So in the previous video, we have already like covered with the REST template. So I'm just going to show you the whole flow, and also we'll try to see the difference between the REST template and the REST client. Okay. So where it is, go to the YouTube, go to EnggAdda, and inside the project, September, and the project name was third party API integration. You, yeah, in Spring Boot, something like that. Trust it out, open in a new tab, and wait for a few seconds. So here I will try to brief you what we are going using the REST template. So just wait for a few seconds. Let me try to open the project here, go to the main, go to the Java, and go to this post service, go to the post service interface. So here in the post service interface, you can see what we have did. We have created couple of methods. Okay, these are the abstract methods. One is to get the post, second is to get the post by ID, third is to insert the post, update the post, and delete the post. Now if you'll go to the implementation of it, let me try to go inside it. Here you can see where we are using the get post method, which is returning the list of post. So what we are doing, we have created this HTTP entity, and we have the URL ready, and then using the REST template, we are calling this exchange method of the REST template. We are passing the URL, we are passing the method type, and we are passing the HTTP entity and the return type what we are expecting out of it. And then once it is returned, what we are doing, we are simply returning the response out of this method. If you'll go to the controller, you will see here this method is being called, and this method is returning, get all post method is returning the list of map of a string of object. So either, yeah, it can be list of map of a string of object, or it can be the list of post. But if you are using list of post, you have to create one entity called post. Okay, so here I'm not using that. So while hitting this API, we are going to this get post method. If we'll go to implementation, you can see we are providing the URL, we are providing the method type, we are providing the HTTP entity and the return type. Now, if you'll go above, you can see here we have provided the base URL, and if you'll come down, you will see that we have auto-wired the REST template here. And this REST template is configured inside this main class. You can see we are creating one bean method here, which is returning the bean of REST template. Once it is configured here, we can use it in the post service implementation class. That is what we have auto-wired it here, and using this REST template, we are calling the third party API. And whatever response we are getting, we are just returning back to the controller. Okay, and here in the controller we have developed our own APIs. So this is the whole flow. This in this video we are like in this project we are using the REST template, but in this video we are going to see how the REST client is helping us to integrate the third party API. The same thing we are going to do here. Okay, so again, if you'll go to the post service implementation, you will see how we have configured the things. We have created the base URL, and we have configured the REST template in the configuration class, which is main class, and then we have auto-wired it here. Using that, we are calling the exchange method. We are providing the URL and the method types and HTTP entity and the return types, and we are getting the response. But in the case of REST client, the scenario is pretty simple. Okay, so we are going to see that as well. So let me try to go to the project that we have developed here and start our development. So first of all, I will create one entity called post. So create the package called entity and then create the entity post. Now, if you'll go to this JSON placeholder, you will find this list of post. If you'll go to the list of post, you will see this. This is containing the list of post, and inside the post we have the user ID, title, and the body. So same thing, same attributes we are going to put in the entity that we have created as a post. So let me try to do that. So let's say private integer user ID, private integer ID, and we have the private string title and body. I will cross verify it. So just write it down as of now. Private string body. Now if you'll go again to this JSON placeholder, you can see this. The post contains user ID, title, and the body. User ID and the ID are of integer type, and title and the body are of string type. That is what we have written here. Now this, let me try to use all argument and no argument constructor and the getter and setters. So for the getter and setter, we have to use data. So let me try to use this. Let me try to put in the next line. So we are good now. We have created the entity. Now what is the next layer that we are going to develop is service layer. We are not using any database, so that is why we don't have any DAO layer. So directly we are going to develop the service layer. So while developing the service layer, what you can do, either you can create one post interface. There you can write all the methods, all the abstract methods, and then you can create a post service implementation class and implement that post service interface inside that class. So that is the scenario you can do. Here I'm directly going to create the post service class and directly going to implement the methods there. So just let me try to create that. So go to the new and go here to the Java class, and let's say the package name is service, and then let me try to create the class called post service. So post service and then enter. Now you have to auto wire this class with at the rate service annotation so that its bean can be created and assigned to the application context. So I have auto wired it. Now let me try to create one reference of the REST client here so that with the REST client we can call the third party APIs. So let me try to do that. So private final REST client and REST client. Now I'm just going to use the post service constructor and invoke this REST client inside that post service constructor. So let me try to do that. So post service and REST client is equal to REST client dot builder, and here directly you can provide the URLs. So dot you will find this URL. Let me try to go there. Dot REST client dot builder dot why it is not coming REST client dot builder. Let me try to see. Yeah, REST client dot builder dot base URL, and in the base URL you can provide the base URL of your third party APIs. So here the base URL is this JSON placeholder URL. So copy this, come here and provide it out. Now what you have to provide, you have to build this thing. So just build it and then that's it. So what we created here, what we have did here in the post service constructor is we have initiated the REST client. Okay, so here we have created one reference of the REST client, and inside the post service constructor we have initiated that REST client reference. So what we did, we have called the REST client builder, and then we are providing the base URL, and then we are building it out. But what was the case with we are using the REST template? If you go to this application, you will find that when we are using the REST template, we have directly created one variable which is base URL and provided the base URL here, and directly we are passing this base URL to this REST template. Okay, but this is not what we are going to do here in the case of REST client. In the case of REST client, we are directly passing this base URL where we are initializing the REST client, right? If you go to the application, you will find it. Here you can see, right? Now this is the difference, one difference of REST template and the REST client. Now let me try to go down and let me try to create one service method which is going to fetch out the list of posts. Okay, so let me try to create that method. So let's say the method type is public, and it is returning the list of posts, and let's say the method name is get post list, something like that. Okay, let me try to remove this. Let me try to import the list here. Okay, now using the REST client, I'm directly going to call that API, which is getting the list of posts. Okay, so first of all, let me try to show you what that API look like. So the base URL is this, okay, and then the API which is returning the list of posts is appending the extra URI which is slash post, or you can say forward slash post. So same thing we are going to do here. So the base URL, till that base URL, let me try to remove this forward slash after the com. So the base URL becomes this, and the next URI that we are going to pass to get the list of posts is forward slash posts. Okay, so let me try to do that. So here using the REST client, I'm just going to uh, call the get method. Okay, so this is the method of the get post API, right? This get post API is nothing but it is a get method. If you'll go to this JSON place folder, you will find it out. So you can see this. The verbose of the post API, list of post API is get. So that is why we are calling here the get method. Now what we need to do, we need to provide the extra URI. So select URI and the extra URI was posts. Now you have to ask for the retrieve and then you have to ask for the body. So in the body, we have to provide what we are expecting out of it, out of this URI, out of this API. So we are expecting a list of posts, right? So you have to do a list of post and dot class. You have to provide the list of post dot class. But this is not getting it right. So there is a new class that you need to pass here, which is new parameterized type reference. So select this and in the parameterized type reference you have to pass the list of post. Okay, so just pass it out. So we are good now. Let me try to remove this. Let me try to put the body down so that we can see it how it is looking like. Either you can put this also. Yeah, so body new parameterized list of post and let me try to remove this and do it again so that it will be clear. And let me try to append a new closing braces here for the class. Okay, so do body and in the body you have to pass what you are expecting out of this API. So out of this API we are expecting the list of posts. So to retrieve the list of posts, what you need to do, we need to pass here new parameterized type reference, and in the parameterized type reference you have to, at the place of object, you have to pass the list of post. Okay, and then you have to simply return this whole response. That's it. So let me try to again explain you what this method is doing. So we have initialized the REST client with the base URL, and when we are calling this method, inside this method we are calling the REST client, and the REST client is going to call the list of post API. So that is why the list of post API is of type get. So that is why we are calling here the get. Then we are passing out the extra URI, which is slash post, retrieving it, and we are expecting a list of post here. So that is why in the body we are passing this new parameterized type reference, list of post. Okay, so that it will return the response for us. Now let me try to go to the or yeah, I have not created the controller layer here. So first of all, let me try to develop the controller layer and try to call this method inside the controller. So just right click on it, come here to the Java and create a package called controller dot let's say the controller name is post controller. Now let me try to annotate it with at the rate rest controller, and directly let me try to auto wire our post service. So private post service. Now I'm just going to develop the get API to call this method inside the post service. So let's say the return type of that method is list of post. Okay, and here let's say the method name is get post, and with the help of this post service reference I'm just going to call that method, which is get post list, and then simply return it from here in this method. Okay, now let me try to import the post here and the list as well. So we are good now. And if you want to provide some extra URL or URI for your endpoint, then you can do it here. So let's say it is a list of post, something like that. So our application will be up locally on the port number 8080, and then you have to provide this extra URI to hit this endpoint. Once you will hit this endpoint, it will go to this post service method. It will try to go to this third party API, retrieve the result for you, and then return back to you. Okay, so that is what the flow is. Now let me try to open the Postman here and try to hit our API. So before going to open the Postman, let me try to make our application up. So it will take few seconds to make your application up. Meanwhile, you can open the Postman, and what is the API that we have developed? If you'll go to the controller, you can see our application is up on the port number 8080 locally. So localhost 8080 slash list of posts. Copy this, come here, and our application is up locally on the port number 8080, and the extra URI is slash list of post. Okay, now hit it and just wait for a few seconds. And here you can see you are getting the response. You are getting the list of posts. If you'll go to this JSON placeholder, and if you'll open this list of post API, and here you can see you are able to fetch the list of posts here in the JSON, and same thing you can see in the Postman as well. So that means we are successfully integrated the list of post API using the REST client in our Spring Boot application. Similarly, one by one we are going to do for the get post by ID, insert the post, update the post by ID, and delete the post by ID. So all those APIs we are going to develop one by one. Now let me try to go to this controller again, and either you can start from the controller or you can start the development for the post service. So let me try to create one method here which is finding out the post by ID. So just copy paste the above one, and its return type would be post, because we are going to fetch the post by ID, right? And change the method name like get post by ID. And if you want to pass the ID here, you can pass it out. So just pass the ID here. So let's say the ID is of integer type, right? So integer ID, and now you are going to call the get method, because this get post by ID is also a get type. So you have to provide that, and let me try to cross verify it from the JSON placeholder. So how the get post by ID URI is looking like is like this. We have forward slash post and forward slash, you have to pass the post ID. Now come here. So we have forward slash post, and we have to pass the ID here, and we have to provide the ID as well that we are passing in the argument. Okay, so that's it, and we have to retrieve it, and then we have in the body what we are expecting only one post. So here we have to remove this, and we have to pass the post dot class. Okay, because we are expecting the post out of it. So we have created this method. Now go to the controller and try to create one API and consume this method there. So go to this post controller, and copy this API and paste it down. And here let's say posts or get post, something like that, get post by ID, and you have to pass the ID as a path variable here. Okay, now use the path variable to pass the ID here. Path variable, let me try to import the path variable. Okay, so just import it, alt enter, and integer ID, and the method was get post by ID, and you have to pass the ID here, and this is returning the post, not list of posts. So change the method return type, and the method name also get post by ID. Okay, so we are good. Now again rerun this application to hit this API. So copy this extra URI which is get post by ID, and you have to pass the ID as a path variable. So copy this whole thing, come here to this IntelliJ, sorry, Postman, and paste it down here. And let's say we are going to find out the second ID. So our application is up. Let me try to enable all these things and hit enter. Now you can see we are able to find out the ID number second, and the post record is also coming for the IDs too. So the second API is also working fine. Now let me try to go to the REST client again, and sorry, our application again, and here let me try to create the API to insert the product. Now let me try to go to the application and try to develop the insert post API. Okay, so let me try to go to the application, and here you can see this both of the APIs are working fine. And what I will do, I will try to create one API to insert the post. Okay, so either you can start from the controller or you can go to the service, and from here you can start. So let's say we are going to develop the method to insert the post. So just copy this above method and try to paste it down. And let's say the method name is insert, and we are passing the post as an argument here. So post, and let's say this type, the method is post, not get. Okay, now the URI is post, and we have to remove this additional parameter which is path variable. And let me try to remove this from here as well. If you'll go to the browser and if you'll go to the JSON placeholder, you will find it, right. This post one is having the URI as / post. Now go to this application, and we have the URI set. We are calling the post method here, and then we are retrieving the uh, response, and in the body we are expecting that it is returning the post that we have inserted. So before going to complete this method, what we need to do, we need to provide the content type and the body also that we are passing here in the argument. So just after the URI, what you can do, you can set the content type, and let's say the content type is media type dot application JSON. So let me try to do that. Okay, so you can see this media type dot application JSON. Now we have to set the body here. So just enter and then provide the body here. In the body, we have to pass this post reference that we are passing in the argument. Okay, so that is all, and then we are retrieving it. And in the body, we are expecting that the return type is the post that we are inserting. So that is why we are providing the post dot class. So this method is complete. Now go to this controller and try to create one post mapping here and call that method inside that. So let me try to do that. So post mapping, and let's say this is insert posts, and let's say the method name is insert, and here we are passing the post as a request body. So just set that request body, and then we have to pass the post here as a request body. So just pass it out, and now just remove this method. We need to call the insert method here. So just call the insert method, pass the post, and then that's all. Now let me try to rerun our application and try to hit this API from the Postman. So just rerun the application, go to the Postman, and you can see our API, which is insert API is insert post. So just localhost insert post, and then you have to go to the body, you have to select the JSON, and you have to provide the post that you are going to insert here. So just let me try to provide the post here. So let's say the post having the attributes like user ID. Let's say the user ID is something like 800. Okay, and let's say the ID is 101, and let's say title is ABC, something like that. Put a comma here, and after that ABC also. Now you have to provide the body. So let's say the body is containing something like XYZ. Okay, now hit enter and then see. So you can see in the downside, this post is inserted in the DB, or you can say this post is created. Okay, so this is how you can create the API or integrate the post API to insert the post in the third party API. Okay, now go back to the application and try to create the other APIs as well. So we need to create these two APIs. One is to update the post, and last one is to delete the post. So go to the post service and copy this whole thing, and let me try to create the method for update. So let's say update, and in the update what we are doing, we are passing the post ID which we are going to update. So let's say we are passing the post ID. We are going to fetch that post with the help of post ID, and then once we retrieve that post, we are going to modify the post according to the new post that we are sending here. So let me try to pass the ID here. So let's say the ID is integer ID, and we are passing the post also, which we are going to update. And let's say this is the put method. Okay, and now the URI is post slash ID. So we need to pass the ID here, and in the argument also we need to pass the ID. Okay, so we are passing both of them. Now we have to set the content type, which is media type dot application JSON, and then in the body we have to pass this post. Based upon that, we are going to update the existing post. Then we are retrieving it, and again what we are expecting, we are expecting the updated post. So that is why we have set the post.class in the body. So this is about the update method. Now let me try to go to the controller and try to create one controller to update the post. So copy this and paste it down. This time the mapping would be put mapping, and let's say update, and then we need to pass the ID as a path variable. So let me try to set the path variable integer ID, and we are passing the request body, which is post, and based upon this post we are going to update the existing post. So here just call the update, and in the update we need to pass the ID first and then the post, with the help of which we are going to update the existing post. Now everything is good. Now let me try to again re-verify in the update. So in the update we are passing this ID and the post. Based upon this ID we are fetching out the particular post, and based upon this post that we are passing as here as a argument, we are updating the existing post. Okay, so now let me try to rerun the application and try to hit this post API from the postman. So go to the controller and try to see, this is the API for the update. So it is update slash ID that we are going to update. So our application is up, and let me try to go to the postman. Before going to update one of the post, what I want to show you is uh, I just want to hit this API, which is finding out the post by ID. So I will fetch out one of the post first, and then based upon that existing post, we are going to update that one existing post according to ourselves. So just let me try to hit this API first, so which is get post by ID, and go to this postman and put it here, and let's say this time we are going to fetch the post number 3. Okay, and the method would be get, just hit enter, and you can see we are able to fetch the post ID 3. Copy this and come here in the body. You have to go to the body, you have to select the JSON, and then paste the post Based upon that, you're going to update the existing post. So again, let me try to go to the controller, and this time our update API is update slash post ID. So copy this, go to the postman, paste it here. So what we did, we have fetched out one of the post, which is post ID 3. Now what we are going to do, we are going to modify something in the post ID 3 and see if those things are reflected here in the response or not. So that is why we are now calling the update API. So update slash post ID. In the request body, what we have to do, we have to provide the updated details of the post ID 3. So let's say we are going to set the user ID as let's say 200. Okay, and the ID is 3. Now in the title you can set whatever things you want. So let's say I'm going to set the title as ABC underscore XYZ, and let's say the body is same. So earlier the ID post ID 3 was having a user ID as 1, title as this, and the body as this. Now after the updation, this post ID 3 would be having user ID as 200 and title as ABC underscore XYZ and the body as this. So let me try to update it. So let me try to change this method type to put and update. And here you can see in the response we are getting the same things. So that means the update API is also working fine. Now let me try to go to the IntelliJ and try to create the delete API. So go to the post service first, and here let me try to create a delete API. So before going to create the delete API, we have to create the post service method for the delete. So copy this and just paste it down. Let's say this time the method name is delete, and based upon the post ID, we are going to fetch that particular post and then we are going to delete it. So we are passing the ID here. Just remove this post, and the method type is delete, and URI. What is URI? Go to the application JSON, and here you can see for the post delete, the URI is forward slash post slash ID. So we have to provide the post ID which you want to delete. Okay, so go to the application. So what we are passing in the URI, we have the post slash ID, and here also in the method we are passing the ID. That based upon that ID we are going to fetch the post first and then delete it. Now we don't need this content type in the body, so just remove this. And here what we are doing, we are just retrieving the result, and in the body what we are passing, if you want to fetch the deleted post you can do this. Otherwise what you can do, you can set this to bodiless entity. Okay, and then just remove these things, and you can make your method to void. Okay, so you are not expecting anything out of here. So this, what this method is doing, in this method we are passing the ID, this post ID, and based upon this post ID we are fetching out that particular post and then deleting it. Okay, so that is what we are doing here, and we are not getting anything out of this method. Now go to the controller and try to create one delete API. So copy this put API, paste it down and change it to the delete API, and let's say the method, the URI is delete, and we have to pass the ID. We have to pass the ID as a path variable. Just remove this request body, and let's say the method name is delete, and let's say it is void. We don't have to return anything, so just remove the return, and we have to call the delete. In the delete we are passing the ID. So yeah, we are good. So let me try to again give you the whole flow for the delete. We have created this delete mapping. We are passing the external URI as delete, and we are passing the ID as a path variable. And when we are calling the post service delete method, we are passing the ID. Here when you come to the post service delete method, based upon this ID we are fetching out the post and then deleting it. Okay, so that is what the whole flow is. Now let me try to rerun this application and try to go to the postman to call this API. So go to the controller, and if you'll come here to the postman, just change this URI to delete, and let's say you want to delete the id 1. Okay, so just hit enter, and the method type you have to change to delete, so just hit enter, and here we go. You can see this 200 response. That means the post id 1 is deleted successfully. We are not getting anything here because in the code we have set this to the body less. If we'll go to this delete service method, you can see here we are not expecting anything. So this is how you can integrate the all basic CRUD APIs using the REST client. Okay, so this is about the video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.